What's up, y'all? Oh, I just had a whole thing download, and so of course I want to share it with you all. I just walked from the top of that mountain. Do you see? You can see up there, there's a little white house. I don't even know if I can zoom in enough so that you can see it. I'm going to try. Here we go. That house on the hill, that's where I just walked. It was not a straight walk by any stretch of the imagination. I had to come down the hill, through the jungle, across some creeks, across a whole bunch of ragged rocks, and a whole bunch of pebbly shore. And then eventually it opened up into the beach. And as I was walking, I was just in my lamentations mood, which often comes to me, where I'm lamenting something like the decision to walk that far, in these shoes, which immediately fell in the creek and got muddy, and then my heel was slipping and sliding, and I was like, all right, I need a different way of being in this walk in order to get through this, because this is, more than what I anticipated. And that feels like a narrative for my life. I am often taking up something that is more than what I anticipated, and that's the narrative for my life. And then, so I decided to turn it into a walking meditation and to call in the energy that I wanted to have accompany me on the walk, which was ease and simplicity. It was been my journey. My journey is ease and simplicity. My journey is ease and simplicity. And so I just said that as I walked, and as sort of a walking meditation. And as I was walking, I experienced a slowing down of my pace. And I experienced a greater intentionality in where I stepped. I experienced an easier and more simple walk than the one I would have had if I stayed cranky and overwhelmed and self-deprecating about having chosen these shoes and about having decided to do this and come alone, and I don't have enough energy and da-da-da-da-da. And when I finally crossed over the rocks onto the sand of the beach, I just had some gratitude. And then here's the lesson. None of that was the lesson. And then I was like, but I'm tired. And it felt like a metaphor for my life. I'm tired. And before I said I'm tired, I had stepped in the waves washed over my feet, and I was like, oh, that feels so restorative, was the thing I said first. And then the thing I said second was, but I'm tired. And then I was like, what made that walk easier? Just now. In part, what made it easier was what you spoke over it that created a certain sort of intentionality that you had the opportunity to walk into. Quite literally. You created an intention, and then that intention guided your steps. It wasn't like, God came and miraculously removed the rocks. The landscape was still the landscape. The terrain was still the terrain. But my intention changed how I moved through the terrain such that it created different conditions. And so when I started saying that I'm tired, and then it occurred to me that I had just changed the conditions of my experience by changing my intention as I was experiencing it. And I said, I'm restored by this water. And the first thing that came up for me, y'all, was, but who am I? Who am I without the story? Like, the immediate thing that came up for me was like, right, you are what you say you are. And I was like, but I want to be tired, because Without the story of tired, I'm just fucking responsible for my life. Right? Without the story of it's so hard, I'm just responsible for my fucking life. Without the story of, you know, when will I be given a break? I'm just responsible for the fucking break. I'm the boss. I picked the work conditions. I'm the boss. I picked the hours that I work and I don't work. I picked it. And I mean that in terms of the decisions of our lives. And and the immediate thing I felt was my ego fighting, flailing to stay alive through the means of making somebody else responsible for my journey other than me. And it was so enraging and frustrating, and I had to turn on a "What's up, y'all?" Because I was so mad about it. Because I was so mad about the idea that that if I want a different condition than the one that I have, the first thing I have to do is change the condition that I've created in my head. Right? It was like, yes, the external conditions might not change. Like I said, the rocks didn't miraculously fucking move. Right? I had the moment at that time to be tired or restored. That was the choice. And tired makes somebody else responsible, makes life responsible. Why are you putting me through all of this? And restored makes me responsible for changing my perspective about a situation. And here's the deal. Changing your perspective will not change the material reality of the planet immediately. But it will change the next step you take. And as you change the next step you take, you start moving in a different direction and in a different way than the one you've been moving historically. That's how it works. And so oftentimes when people ask me and we're in talks and they're like, but what about this oppression? What about that oppression? What about this limited resource? What about that limited resource? Look, all that shit is true. And if it is the singular way, if it is the conditions by which you will assess how you move, then you will move the way you've always moved. But if it is an external condition and your experience is such that you call in an energy that has you see differently, it's not that the outside changes, it's that you see shit you couldn't see before. I saw places to step that I couldn't see before when I was frustrated and exhausted. And I experienced restoration instead of tiredness because I chose to lean in to the experience of restoration. I could have just as easily chosen to lean into the experience of tiredness. But one gets me closer to what I want, to peace, pleasure, joy, ease, and love in my life. And the other takes me further away. The other has same slippery rocks, but I seem to step on the loose ones more often. I seem to fall in the cracks more often. I seem to have a less easeful experience because I don't expect one. And so I can't even see where one is available. Who are you without the story of your victimhood? What opens up when you put that down? My hunch is it's an easier life. A life more in alignment with your authentic joy, purpose, power, ease, pleasure. I know I want that for me. I want it for you too. All right, folks. Bye. Here, I'll give you the ocean again. It's real pretty.